Welcome and welcome back, everybody, to the OK Grognard Show. Today is Wednesday, May 20th, 2026, 10 a.m. Central in beautiful Lake Geneva, Wisconsin. And today we're going to look at the first edition Advanced Dungeons & Dragons Deities and Demigods book, which this will be part one because there's a lot to cover with this tome. And importantly, one of the reasons we're looking at this is because Jim Ward Day, May 23rd. He'll have been gone now for a little over 2 years, and nobody's more deserving. I mean, look at some of the things there, just as in the image, the credits back to 1976 with both Metamorphosis Alpha and that original D&D Deities supplement, both in 76. 78, what do we got? Gamma World comes out. And in 1980, he is tasked to help write the Advanced Dungeons & Dragons Deities and Demigods book. This comes after the Core 3. And let me see. I wonder if I have that other... Yeah, there we go. So it falls after the Fiend Folio as well. Right smack dab in the middle of the 9 I use. But I think it's important to remember that it was a teamwork effort. He took a lot of directions. The team took a lot of directions from Gary on this and how to approach it and how to format it. And Lawrence Schick edited it. We'll look at a few different sections of this, because there's a lot to uncover in 2, possibly 3 different videos on this particular book, and it is just going to cover how this book came to be and how it was structured in these 3. I think we could do future videos on individual pantheons, groups of deities. There's Vince in the chat. How you doing, Vince? Good to see you, buddy. Thanks for dropping in. I think we need to look at the forward first. And this is just an excerpt because it's pretty long forward. And we want to cover what is pertinent to what we're looking at here. Gary Gygax writes this forward, and he says, in general, deities are presented in pantheons. You can select which ones, combination, or parts of pantheons best suit your campaign. Players knowing which gods are, quote-unquote, real in the campaign world are able to intelligently choose to serve one or more, suitable to the character's alignment, profession, and even goals. Included are major, minor, and almost gods, parenthetically demigods. There are also a few quote-unquote divine, early use of that word, monsters and magic items herein, separating it from arcane. These are creatures and devices so connected to mythology that this work was the only place to properly present them. Not included are those minions of evil found in the Monster Manual and the attendant volumes forthcoming. Let's not forget the Fiend Folio, but also Monster Manual 2 and other places. Diabolical and demoniac actually, deities are important to the campaign milieu. Without evil, what does good have to strive against? It is no great matter to extract these beings from the other works and include them amongst the other deities, however. The format used to present the beings and deities and demigods was actually developed through close consultation with myself, says Gary. It was chosen for clarity and completeness of information. The reader can extract basic information quickly just by glancing at the statistics pertaining to the being in question. Greater detail is then presented in the explanatory paragraphs which follow the initial data. It is worth commenting that the strength and powers of the beings contained herein are appropriate to the overall work. Thus, addition of these deities and demigods does not imbalance the campaign. Furthermore, characters who become a match for them are obviously to be ranked amongst their number, no longer suitable for daily campaign interaction, but to be removed to another place and plane and treated accordingly. So there you go. That's what Gary's input was, according to his own words, early on in setting this up. There is a preface by Jim Ward. There are editor notes by Lawrence Schick. There is an entire intro which includes how it breaks down and all the statistical information and how it's divided and separated. And there is also a section for each pantheon. And, of course, each pantheon will include thematically gods for the various cultures from various cultures in the world, in the real world, and in some fictional cases. This will not include the two sections that were not included in the final version of that. We may look at those in a video sometime in the future. But for now, let's just look at the overview here, including this preface, which I think, written by Jim Ward, is one of the most important sections of a AD&D book beyond the 3 core books. Jim says, this work, as all AD&D works, is an attempt to clarify and produce material for those referees who expect and demand high-quality information for their campaigns. Within its pages, you will find details and facts that will be highly useful to you as the DM and to your player clerics. It is intended as a treatment of world religions and the rightness or wrongness of their philosophies. It is not intended as a treatment of world religions and the rightness or wrongness of their philosophies. It is a simple statement of the historical or literary details man has recorded for all to see. Do not look for a favoring of good versus evil or neutrality versus everything else. When historians and authors wrote about a deity in a way that made them powerful or feared, that is the way we made them. In the same light, when a being was made too all-powerful in AD&D terms, we scaled them down to make them compatible in game terms. The creative processes of this book differ from the other AD&D works in that 3/4 of the information given within was drawn from knowledgeable sources rather than from the imagination of the authors. The names of the deities and heroes, the weapons and powers they used, and many of their personality traits are plain for everyone to discover for themselves. What had to be creatively done dealt with concepts that were purely AD&D in nature. All of the leaders of the pantheons were given 400 hit points, and the rest were scaled down from there. The relative resistance of beings to blows and magic was derived from studies of their battles with natural and supernatural forces, while concepts like strength were easily assigned in the case of deities of strength or war, this concept is less easily applied to the more powerful deities who have no need for massive muscles. Alignments were perhaps the hardest AD&D concept to deal with, and the ones that will have the most debate among the interested users of this work. Beings like Set, Loki, Ariok are easy to classify, but when working with the middle-of-the-road deities who were often chaotic but known for consistent kindness, or were rogues of the worst sort but very companionable, it became necessary to consider them as a whole to make a judgment. While it will be easy in any campaign to change the powers and alignments of those beings who you differ with, remember that drastic changes can also influence the all-important game balance in any given campaign. Let's take an aside to point out game balance being explicitly mentioned, not just in Gary's forward, but also by Jim in this preface. We'll continue. While Deities and Demigods is ideally suited to the task of working deities into an AD&D campaign format, everything has not been covered in this book. In the 6,000-year-plus span of this work, mankind has spent a lot of that time adding to the myths dealt with herein. We did not try to encompass everything, and it is silly to assume that the 5 years or so of research that created Deities and Demigods could suffice. There are areas that were stressed because they were useful to DMs, whereas others were left out for the same reason. The book should be used as a beginning framework for the DM. Sample it. Take what is wanted, and start the gods as well as the players in a universe. While Deities and Demigods reveals a great many divine powers and a great many powerful devices, it is the duty of the DM to add to, change, and otherwise modify the information on these pages for use in a campaign. There is a large list of people that helped in some way with this endeavor, says Jim, and I want to take this opportunity to mention and thank them: my parents, my wife Janine, Brian Bloom, Ernie Gygax, Will Niebling, Mike Carr, Kevin Bloom, Dave Sutherland, and Gary Gygax, who created a game that will outlast us all. So there you go. That is without a doubt some prophetic words. And as we move in towards Saturday, which is Jim Ward Day, let's keep those words in mind. We'll get back to some more of this. It'll include Lauren Chick's editorial notes, and then we'll get into more details of how the entire Deity and Demigods are presented. I'm hoping to knock this out in 3 videos. All of the stuff we just talked about. And again, individual pantheons, we'll do individual videos on those in the future as we decide what's needed and what we want to use. Anyway, let's call that, and tell everybody to roll some dice and draw some cards and have some fun for Jim Ward Day. That's what it's going to be all about. And this was a Part 1 look at the first edition Advanced Dungeons & Dragons Deities and Demigods. This show streams live on Twitch each Wednesday at 10 a.m. Central, and then it's archived on YouTube. Like, subscribe, follow, do all of that fun stuff. And support the channel even at the free level on Patreon. Join such people as Tom Tellis of Fat Dragon Games, Carlos Lysing of Castle Entertainment, Heath Farndon of the AD&D 20, Dave O'Brien, unauthorized user, Dethangel Shadow, Heidi and Eric Gygax Garland of Gaxland, Vince Ragusa of the Maroon Room, an excellent prog rock band, Daniel Caldwell of Griffin and Gargoyle, Martin Thomas of Daddy Rolled a One, a great YouTube channel, Christian Garcia, Stephanie Lesniewski-Gruchow, Cera Toppilopkus, Colin Szablewski, Sergeant Zeno, Bruiser, Nate Mosier, Rod Garcia, John Smith, and as always, Shane Bradley, DM Extraordinaire. This has been the OK Grognard Show from beautiful Lake Geneva, Wisconsin. Thank you, and bye-bye.